travel in the boot, please.
Ambient music. Check.
Boots.
I prefer to travel in the boot.
Odd visuals and discomforting audio. Check.
Really?
Feel safer.
A weird premise. Check. What you just watched is one of the various sketches from the 2000 TV series Jam. It was made 23 years ago, and it's still genius in today's world. While TV around the turn of the millennium seems like gold dust to a modern 2020 audience fed up with the one show, back then, the programs shown began to feel a little bit more monotonous. There hadn't been any radical change in a while, sitcoms still had live audiences, and Saturday night shows were declining in ratings. Although the later rampant increase in talent and reality shows would later break the mold for British TV, viewers were getting tired, especially with the unprecedented rise of the internet. Channel 4? Yes, I'm talking about it again, shut up, has always been a catalyst for change, along with being one of the biggest comedy platforms in the UK, with shows like The In-Betweeners and Peep Show being notable examples. But as you go lower down on the iceberg, you uncover more obscure and weirder series like The 11 O'Clock Show, Drop the Dead Donkey, Eurotrash. But eventually you stumble across Jam, a 6-episode long amalgamation of experimentation, dark yet twisted humour, and a bizarre atmosphere that would leave you open-mouthed. And it's not a comedy to be laughed at. So here's a jolly good example.
Right, Arthur. Could you put those in the first for us? Yes, no problem. Have a good evening.
Night, Arthur.
Night.
See you at 6.
Yes. Oh boy.
Night, Arthur.
Night. Hello. Yeah, it's oh. It's Arthur on the 7th. Oh. Well, there's another one.
Night, Arthur. See you tomorrow, mate.
No, I'm talking to some. Oh, bloody God.
And to think that was one of the more tamer sketches. The cast was comprised of 6 members: Kevin Eldon, Julia Davis, David Cann, Amelia Bullmore, Mark Heap, and its writer and director Chris Morris. Morris is known for creating and mostly starring in some of the UK's most acclaimed comedy series that often satirises the popular British media, like Brass Eye, Nathan Barley, and The Day Today. Morris started his career as a radio presenter, and the Jam TV series is adapted from a radio series similarly titled Blue Jam, which was broadcast in the middle of the night on BBC Radio 1, one of the main radio stations in the UK. God, the 90s. Apart from Cann, the rest of the cast originated from a similar sketch show called Big Train, which also featured a pre-spaced Simon Pegg. The sketches within that show were also bizarre, although less dark. Sometimes. Before we dive into the actual sketches in the show, there are 5 notable aspects around the show to point out, the first being the lack of any ad breaks. Conventionally in British TV, or any TV in any country for that matter, in a half-an-hour show there is usually about 1 ad break lasting for a few odd minutes in the middle. Although being broadcast in a primetime 10 PM slot, that isn't present here. Initial reports suggested that this was due to advertisers being so disgusted by the content of the show that they all pulled out, en masse. But Morris claimed this was not the case, and it was due to not disturb the atmosphere, which I think is justified, considering I wouldn't want this breaking the mood.
Hi, I'm Barry Scott.
Number 2, the music. The soundtrack to this show is unlike most, if not all, programs, as it comprises of mostly ambient music and soundscapes to build an unnerving atmosphere. Certain tracks include...
Right, I'm gonna get you fucking sacked, mate. What's your name?
It's Mr. Lizard.
Do you get what I mean now? The CD of Blue Jam was published by Warp Records, a company known for publishing this type of music, and Morris has a further link to the label, as both Four Lions and My Wrongs, his films, were, again, published by Warp Films. A lot of the sketches were filmed with the actors lip-syncing the original radio series in occasionally slow or fast motion, which adds to the eerie atmosphere. Number 3. The visuals. The striking visuals makes this show unique when compared to the plethora of other sketch shows. The aspect ratio constantly switches from 4:3 to 60:9, then 60:9 squished into 4:3. The frame rate can be smooth at 30 FPS or be lowered severely, even to 1 frame per second in one sketch. One is filmed through pointing a camera at a TV. One has the posterization turned up all the way. One has inverted colour. One is even filmed vertically. That could be a TikTok! With all of these variations, you can never feel truly safe, or especially comfortable with the show as it goes on, for obvious reasons. Number 4, the credits. Along with all the other genre-bending features about the show, another feature of the show is the lack of any end credits. The show just fades out into a line of text with the web address jamcredits.com. Obviously, in the 2020s, this website is inactive, and now links to this random Chinese website, but the Internet Archive shows a full list of credits for every episode in one long scroll. With the internet being in its early days in 2000, this can be perceived as either groundbreaking, immersive, or just a bit of a hassle. And I mean, the credits are literally a special feature on the DVD. Hey, and speaking of that, number 5, the DVD release. I am proud to own this. Twice. Oh shit. The first of the 2 discs contain each episode along with a specialised alternate version, like a compressed, scaled down version which is barely watchable and bounces around like the DVD logo screen. This one... I feel like I've been on drugs. And a version that cuts off after the first 19 seconds. Along with this, there's an option for undeleted scene. Oh, never mind. Now I've talked about the fundamental values which makes this show one of the best. What actually is it? Let's look through some of the sketches, and at least the ones that can be allowed on YouTube. Yeah.
Then welcome in Jam.
Every episode of the series begins with a borderline nonsensical introduction poem of sorts that, from the get-go, establishes the show's pitch-black humour. They contain these bizarre plot lines which involve someone's downfall or devolution into madness. Like, I can't even describe these scenes, even though it happens to be every damn day. And yes, that's Mark Heap as a lizard homunculus type creature.
BS!
A woman calls a plumber to fix a broken boiler, but she refers to it as...
He's just upstairs.
Sorry, he's upstairs.
Yes, it shouldn't take long. He's only 3 weeks old. It's not at all much, is it? £1,000 an hour. Couldn't you try for 3 hours at £1,000 an hour?
After a brief time lapse, the man comes down.
Mrs. Kay.
Oh, is he better?
He's not quite. He's changed a bit.
Hello, darling. Mummy's here.
He's nice and warm.
I've channeled the heating for him.
Come on.
There's a tap on the side there. See, just there.
The baby has been converted into a boiler in order to preserve the whatever amount of life he has left. Notice how you're not laughing. Even my mum said this sketch scarred her.
Dropped off. He hit the ground very hard.
Morris plays the role of a rather calm witness to a man unexplainably jumping off of a first floor balcony repeatedly head first as people gathered around him, viewing him going on and on.
But after about 40 jumps, he just didn't get up anymore. Apparently somebody asked him what he was doing, and he said he wanted to jump 40 times off a first floor balcony rather than straight off the top of a tall building, in case he decided to change his mind at any point.
Christ, this is getting depressing. Let's go to real.
Mr. Riley, come about the television. Oh, yeah, right. Come in.
Eldon portrays a husband who calls a TV technician played by Heap to fix a television that seems to be leaking lizards into a house.
It's a brand new television. It's not supposed to have lizards in it.
Have you checked with the cable company, sir?
Well, it's nothing to do with
Have you
them.
checked with the cable company?
No, we haven't.
The man repeatedly tries to gaslight the couple and refuses to help by offering useless solutions.
Sweep them up.
Sweep them up.
Yes.
Right. What will your head office say when I tell them about all this, eh?
Yeah.
You did it.
What was that?
They'd say you did it.
And the husband's rage fires up.
I'm gonna get you fucking sacked, mate. What's your name?
Mr. Lizard.
bugging me about?
Fucking nincompoop.
Come on, what is it?
Mr. Lizard.
Right, what's your boss's name?
Another Mr. Lizard.
Stop it! Fucking stop it!
Mr. Lizard.
Stop it! Where are you going? Get back there and fix that television! Where are you
The
going?
husband now breaks down as the wife looks on, knowing that the lizards will never, ever stop.
Come on.
I don't even want to fix.
Come on.
It's not that much to say. Come in there.
Come on.
What is wrong with him?
So I've started to make people need help.
Davis portrays this robotic sounding woman whose loneliness causes her to resort to extreme measures to meet people. Examples include gluing a car door so it gets stuck and tripping over a bike. Her demeanour is both reassuring yet agonisingly creepy as she suggests how she's turned to stalking to help people.
We've been informed he drowned this morning in his canoe. Very sorry, Mrs. Ferris. I have actually got 2 tickets to see Cats tonight. Perhaps you'd like to see Cats with me.
Peter Lusp, CID. I've got a few questions I'd like to ask you. Might take a little while, so probably best if we pop down to the station.
Have you caught me?
Yep, yes you have, yes you have. Cam portrays the average family man who has decided to give up life early, not because he's depressed, just because he thinks that he's at his peak, and to prevent life from getting any worse, he's gonna
have my funeral service and burial now, while I'm in my prime. It's much better than the usual way of doing things. I hope to have a very joyful, happy service.
Of course, it's Jam, so when everyone leaves after the ceremony concludes, the soundtrack fades out, and then eventually the footage fades out, with this. Oh, he's dead. As a whole, Jam is beautiful, disturbing, surreal, and musically stunning all at the same time. In modern times, you would never see this on broadcast television, not because of the woke brigade. The rise of YouTube has allowed all sorts of filmmakers to showcase this bizarre type of genre, which isn't so experimental anymore. At the time, the show was quite polarizing to critics, while some called it groundbreaking and others just thought it was sick. Personally, I watched Jam all in one night, and I walked to school the next day a different person. If you're in the right mindset, it strikes that balance of laugh out loud with borderline tear-jerking monologues. Or my drink is spiked with drugs, I don't know. In the years following, much of the cast has gone on to have greater successes. For example, Julia Davis created the critically acclaimed Nighty Night on BBC Three. Mark Heap gained national recognition as Jim in Friday Night Dinner on Channel 4. And Chris Morris has gone on to create a giant legacy over the entire British comedy community. Watch it if you can. It is incredible.